LEGO Lord of the Rings is a video game based on the famous fantasy book series The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I'm a frog whose likeness was stolen in the latest Pixar movie, and I have never played LEGO Lord of the Rings before. And despite growing up with my dad's Lord of the Rings Extended Edition box set, I haven't watched these movies since I was like 6. So I decided to make up for lost time and re-immerse myself in the world of Middle-earth by trying to 100% this game as fast as I can, specifically under 24 hours. And as I learned as I explored this game's massive world, that's not an easy task. Let's hop in. First things first, I had to play through the story, which follows the movies very closely. Even though I don't remember much from the movies, I'll do my best to relay what's happening. Our journey begins with the Rings of Power getting made, 3 rings going to the elves, 7 to the dwarves, 9 to the race of men, and another billion to Israel. But this evil guy, Sauron, made a ring for himself that was cooler than the rest, leading to a massive battle between machine elves and men versus orcs, where I take over as Isildur. I began, of course, by gathering studs to help fill the stud bar at the top of the screen. In this game, filling it is called True Adventure, just like in LEGO Indiana Jones. After killing the first group of orcs, I was introduced to the first new Lord of the Rings mechanic, these glowing orange Morgul objects that can only be destroyed by characters with special swords. Eventually, I was challenged by Sauron to a duel where I first tried sweeping his leg, but to no avail. Periodically, he gets his mace stuck in the ground. You smack it with the anti-Morgul sword, and after doing this 3 times, he kills the king. Isildur grabs a sword and cuts off Sauron's ring finger, slaying him once and for all, never to return again, and Elrond says they have to go destroy the ring. While exploring Mustafar as Isildur and Elrond Hubbard, I found my first mini-kit behind a few Morgul rocks. In this game, the mini-kits are treasure chests, also just like LEGO Indiana Jones. There are 10 hidden in each level, and I'll obviously need to find them all. I grabbed enough studs to hit True Adventure, and we entered the volcano where Agent Smith urged Isildur to throw the ring into the fire, but he refused. Is he stupid? Isildur later got shot by a bunch of arrows and fucking died. A guy named Gollum had the ring for a bit, and after that, the ring was stolen by Ian Holm. Instead of gold bricks in this game, you get mithril bricks. I got 1 just for completing the level and another for True Adventure. There are 250 in total that I'll need to collect. We go to the Shire where Gandalf tries to rob Bilbo and not help him. Gandalf gives Frodo the 1 ring and tells him he must leave the Shire. Samwise Claus falls through the chimney, and I was now free to explore Middle-earth, but having almost no money or characters unlocked, I figured I should just continue with the main story. This led me to a cornfield, which is the driving location behind the greatest YouTube video of all time prior to its copyright takedown by Warner Brothers. Sam and Frodo get attacked by Merry Pippinmas, and the newly formed Hairy Feet Quartet go frolicking through the woods before getting stalked by the Black Rider, where level 2 begins. This level is all about avoiding the Black Rider's gaze by throwing rocks at birds to draw his attention away. After digging a hole, collecting a very poorly hidden treasure chest, walking on a wooden beam, and growing giant plants, the game cut away to Gandalf visiting the Tower of Doom to meet Saruman, who reveals that he's evil, which is a huge twist for a Christopher Lee character. This boss fight begins with a Gandalf POV shot before we go down to the ground, where Sauron will jump up in the air and slam a staff into the ground, sending purple lightning towards you, but it's extremely easy to dodge. I died. Count Dooku steals Dumbledore's staff before launching him up to the ceiling, and the game abruptly cuts back to the Frodo squad, where we do more of the same as before, avoiding the gaze of the Black Rider. This time with added fishing, and I don't mean the do not redeem kind. The level ended with an on-the-rails chase where we ran past a treasure chest. That definitely won't be annoying later on in free play. The hobbits escaped in a boat, and level 2 was in the books. That's a pun. Instead of having a main hub and just selecting levels, LEGO Lord of the Rings has you navigate to the next level's location in the open world, and we had to make it to the town of Bree. Once there, I got my first ever quest to deliver this freeloader a mithril trowel. I went to the town blacksmith where I was spoon-fed the blacksmith design for the mithril trowel. Other designs you find hidden in levels in the open world. When you have a design, you can spend the mithril bricks you collect to craft it. So for example, the trowel cost 2 bricks and I had 3 in my bag. Obviously for 100%, I'll need to find all the designs and craft them all. I gave Trowel Guy the new mithril trowel to complete the quest, and as a reward, he dropped a red brick for Quest Finder, which I didn't want to buy for now, but I at least knew how to get red bricks now, by completing mithril object quests. The 5'11" Frodo asks the 6-foot-tall bartender if he's seen Gandalf, and he hadn't. Frodo gets knocked over and catches the ring with his finger, alerting the Nazgul of his location, but the hobbits get picked up by the mysterious Strider, who escorts them out of the tavern. And I led the hobbits through the open world as Strider, activated a map stone, which shows me all points of interest on this part of the map. There are 16 map stones, and I'll have to activate them all for 100%. We made it to a giant rock called Weathertop to begin level 3. Aragorn gives the hobbits swords before leaving the camp, and while he's gone, the hobbits have the brilliant idea to make food, so this level begins with me running around the campsite gathering ingredients, because despite their small stature, hobbits have the appetites of 600-pound mukbangers. Frodo wakes up to the smell of second breakfast and puts out the fire because he's the only hobbit that isn't stupid, but he was too late and the Dementors were now on their way. Use a save statue if you need a rest. No. We made it to the roof of JJ Weatherholt, where the Nosferatus were waiting to suck Frodo's blood, but Frodo put on the ring, leading leading to a neat section where I had to switch back and forth between Frobo and Sam as we build campfires to scare the Nazgul away. But they use a magical device to put out the campfires before turning into white people and stabbing Frodo in the scapula. Thankfully, Vigo shows back up and the level ends with me running around setting the ring race on fire. Level 3 finally done a bit under an hour into my playthrough. While Frodo is bleeding out from a perforated colon, a hot chick with pointy ears shows up to tend to him while Aragorn mogs, and back in the open world I have to deliver Frodo to Rivendell as Arwen. I didn't go right away though, because in real Earth I had to go to Walmart to buy peanut butter. When I did finally take off, getting to Rivendell didn't take long at all because Arwen is quite the horse girl. The Nazgul get obliterated by river water. Frodo wakes up. Gandalf says he enjoyed watching Frodo sleep, and I was now free to explore Rivendell, but instead of doing any exploring, I just went where the game told me to go because I have a time limit. The Middle-earth Peace Committee debates what to do about the ring before forming a fellowship of the best members of each race and Sam to help Frodo deliver the ring to Mount Doom. Bilbo gives Frodo a mithril coat and a sword that glows when orcs are nearby, then turns into a monster man that terrified me as a child, and the fellowship was off on our voyage. Legolas is able to shoot targets using his bow and arrow, and shortly after doing this, we found the snowy passage to begin the 4th level. We gathered around the campfire and sang our campfire song. I walked on a tightrope, used Legolas to parkour on a wall, and emasculated Gimli by carrying him like a sack of potatoes. A bit further ahead, I found this level's blacksmith design for the mithril cluster bow before the fellowship got covered by snow and decided they needed to ditch the path. The level resumes with us outside a door with no snow in sight, where all I have to do is gather wood and rebuild the door before ending the level with a fight against a random giant octopus. Die, you stupid octopus. No one likes you 8-armed freaks anyway. Level 4 of Fellowship done, and now I had a whole lot more characters available to me in the open world and free play. The cool thing about beating level 4 is that the start of level 5 is approximately 15 feet away. We moved into the mines of Moria under Misty Mountains, where miserly dwarves once mined for mithril, and where I found another blacksmith design for the mithril headdress. Orcs started pouring in through the gates, and I fought them valiantly for a solid minute until a TRT orc broke through the door. It didn't take me too long to figure out how to stop him. First, I tricked him into getting his hammer stuck in the floor, where he pulled it back out and gave himself a hammer-smashed face. After riding on his back as a hobbit, Mike Israel was defeated, and the Fellowship descended further into the mines, where Gandalf made a biotic orb to keep the orcs away. Lord of the Rings ripped off Mass Effect 2 confirmed, until the orcs buggered off because we heard a Balrog monster in the distance. I kind of wanted to explore, but Gandalf yelled, "Run!" And I was scared despite being a 25-year-old playing a video game for children. At the Staircase of Doom, I noticed a target overhead. Shooting this target dropped the Moria Orc's helmet, the first treasure item I found in a level. There are 3 treasures hidden in each level, and like the mithril objects, you deliver them to specific people in the open world to complete quests. So on top of everything else so far, I'll need to also find all 3 treasures in each level and give them to their corresponding quest givers. If you still can't tell, this game has a lot more stuff than usual for 100%. Team Frodo ran across a Lego bridge, and after everyone but Gandalf had crossed, the greatest Lego creation I've ever seen popped out to wish them farewell. Gandalf wished him a merry go kill yourself. The Balrog fell to its death, but like a crab in a bucket, it dragged Gandalf down with him, and I had a very easy boss fight against the Balrog as we fell into the underworld. The level ends with a quick section as the rest of the Fellowship as we try to make our escape. Outside, everyone mourns Gandalf, and I only had 1 level left in Fellowship. Meanwhile, in Isengard, Lord Summerisle was running an Uruk-hai farm, and after this cutscene, I was back in the open world with no clue where I was going, but my questions were soon answered when we showed up at Cate Blanchett's house. Frodo was given an elven cloak and a nightlight. Sam was given an elven rope. All these items come into play in both the story and free play. Row, row, row your boat. Level 6. Frodo went off on his own. Boromir was corrupted by the ring, and the level begins with a section where you have to sneak around Boromir while he's in schizo mode. This is where Lego Lord of the Rings turns into a stealth game. After getting past Barometer, the Dark Lord says howdy do, and the game cuts to Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas on the river beach. I don't know why, but the rocks are very satisfying to look at. We rushed into the forest until we found Frodo, and him and Aragorn had a bro moment.
Would you destroy it?
I would have gone with you to the end.
We split up, and still as the Aragimlis trio, we get ambushed by Uruk-hai, which are like orcs but with the power of eugenics, and for some reason in this game are bright red. They hear Boromir using the Horn of Gondor in the distance. Gimli and Legolas take a minute to relieve stress, and we cut to Boromir, Pippin, and Girl name as we enter into a boss fight with Captain Uruk-hai. Before attacking him for the first time, I noticed a blacksmith design on the statue that turned out to be for the mithril rope. Every time I'd take down one of Cobra Kai's hearts, he'd stick another object into Boromir like a Three Stooges bit. Merry and Pippin get hobbit napped, and the level concludes with me defeating the boss as Aragorn. Ned Stark dies, Gimli cries, I eat flies, Frodo and Sam have a bro hug, and 2 hours and 23 minutes in, I was done with Fellowship and 10.2% of the way through the game. I walked up Emyn Muil, and without much voyaging at all, I was already starting level 1 of 2 towers. Sam angrily tossed a compass like like me tossing an Xbox controller. Then while Frodo and Sam were sleeping, look at Sam's teddy bear. Gandalf was still engaged in a battle with a literal demon where we pick up as Gandalf at the base of a snowy tower. I was rewarded with the purple stud and the easiest mini-kit of all time by stacking building blocks perfectly. Then at the top of the tower, it was time for an ultimate battle between good and evil, one that could determine the fate of all of Middle-earth. I died. Eventually, I electrocuted the Necronomicon spawn to death and it fell off the tower, but Gandalf unfortunately also died. Rip homie. Meanwhile, Sam and Frodo encounter a wild golem, and in order to tame the foul creature, we have to gather up fish. Along the way, I found a mini kit, which I already showed in the intro, but I thought I'd mention it again for the 95% of you that just listen to these videos in the background. Sam and Frodo walked into Gollum's backyard. Gollum called the hobbits communists who don't respect private property, and after using Sam's elven rope and wrestling around, we successfully earned Gollum's submission. He became part of the team. That's level 1 of 2 towers already done. Once again, the start of the next level was about 15 feet away in the dead marshes. My footage froze for a few seconds, but I don't think I missed anything funny. And suddenly I'm in the dead marshes and have to wade in the water between small islands, and there are puzzles where I have to fill water buckets as Sam I Am and put out green fires. Suddenly a Nazgul flying a dragon showed up to eat us, but using Frodo's elven cloak, I can disguise myself as a bush. Please clap. After escaping the marsh, the 2.5 hobbits made it to the Black Gate where the Huns were delivering pizzas. Then the game cuts to us as Faramir and Madril as we fight a couple giant elephants. When I was a kid, I thought real life elephants were this big because of Lord of the Rings. More importantly, I noticed targets hidden around that I could shoot, and after getting 5, I got a mini kit treasure chest. The elephants were defeated. This is a cute shot. Faramir said, "Tell us your name or we'll fucking kill you." Level 2 done. While gallantly voyaging to level 3 of 2 towers, I noticed a fellow on the side of the road that told me if I gave him a Mithril tinderbox, he'd give me the invincibility red brick. Unfortunately, I had not the Mithril tinderbox blueprint, nor did I care about invincibility at this point, but good to know nonetheless. Alright, just about to where the objective studs are guiding me. I got jump scared by a children's game. I realized I had to switch over to Legolas and that part of the gang to begin the next level. A few men on horses dance around our heroes before gifting them 3 horses of their own, and the level begins at the burn pile as we hunt for clues as to what happened to Merry and Pippin.
Did you know Viggo Mortensen broke 2 of his toes?
We cut to a flashback of the hobbits as they run through the forest trying to escape hungry Urkel-kai. Bashing open this thing got me another treasure item, wooden armor, and Pippin climbed up a tree that turned out to be alive, and the level ended with me being able to pilot my new tree friend. Merry and Pippin meet an angel, and I don't mean Hernandez. Level 3 complete. The rest of the squad meets this mysterious figure, thinking he's Saruman before it's revealed to be Gandalf the White. We galloped with our steeds to the capital city of Rohan, Edoras, which is how I was going to jokingly mispronounce it before learning that's how they actually say it in the movie. The king of Rohan is possessed by Saruman and influenced by the most obviously evil character in history. This level is all about breaking the king free from the curse, and I'll admit after killing his guards, I got stuck here for a minute. I saw the targets up high and thought I was supposed to find a way to hit them, but you can't without being in free play, so I just wasted a bunch of time accomplishing nothing. I finally tried punching Snape in the face, which made him run away, and then I could use force grip on the king to take down one of his hearts. Build a trap, trick the bad guy into getting trapped, teach the king about our peaceful ways by force, and King Theodore was saved. This very short level concludes with us fighting off orcs riding creatures called wargs, but I didn't really care about that and was instead focused on gathering up the many available studs and shooting flowers for a free treasure chest. Level 4 down. We had a longer walk of approximately 250 freedom units and entered Helm's Deep for the dramatic level 5. We need to call for help. There's no one who can help us. Hello, we are the elf people and we are here to help. The level began with us readying the troops by destroying parts of the back wall for studs and a treasure chest. Old guy shoots an arrow, an orc face planted, and before I knew it I was fighting off orcs as they attempted to storm the castle in the Lego version of Chivalry. Gimli and Aragorn snuck around the side where as Aragorn I got to throw Gimli directly at the orcs just like in the movie. Sunrise came and while riding horses I completely missed a treasure chest that passed by. Level 5 done. Riding on a horse, doot 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 doot. Son of a bitch! It was once again Frodo time and I hobbited all over the place before making it to this ruins area for the final level of 2 towers. Frodo, Sam, and Gollum stroll in with a ginger guy who I hope has a red-headed sister. His grandpa tells him to give the manager a firm handshake and ask for a job. Then Alduin appears and is coming after the ring. This level is pretty neat because the whole way through you have to switch back and forth between our 3 primary characters and Faramir to advance, like Sam and Frodo clear one part, then Faramir has to shoot a target for them to advance past that, stuff like that. Gollum is able to climb up these scary walls with fish bones on them. One of my favorite things about Lego games now that I played more is seeing how they transfer mechanics between different franchises. Like these are basically the magnet walls Robin can walk on in Lego Batman. The dragon said fuck it and left. Faramir threw up a gang sign to Frodo, and the level concluded with me taking control of the tree people and destroying absolutely everything in Isengard. Isengard gets flooded, the good guys recovered the Orb of Doom, and that was that. Level 6, 2 towers wrapped up, 18.1% through the game, we only got 1 movie left. Movie 3, Return of the King, is about a king returning. Who is this king, you may ask? Ribbit. Frodo, Sam, and Smeagol sneak outside the Dead City where level 1 begins. After first trying to cheat and jump up without building a full staircase, I built stairs, got a treasure chest from a big plant, In the distance, the dragon took off from the city, piloted by a guy who looks like black metal artwork. This is where LEGO Lord of the Rings turns into a top-down game. Frodo has a moment of weakness and tells Scam and Sam to beat it because who wouldn't trust this creature over their best friend? And the rest of this level is Frodo and Baby Eater exploring a cave full of spiders. Frodo gets caught in a giant web, Gollum laughs at his misfortune, and the level ends with yet another on-the-rails chase as Charlotte has decided she's no longer asking for Wilbur's safety. One level down. Level 2 is weird, so Sam and Frodo are walking together when Sam gets tackled by a random orc, then Frodo gets hunted by the giant spider and wrapped in her web, and when the level starts, it's me as Sam and the orc in a boss fight against this giant spider. Now past the 5-hour mark, Sam scares Aragog off, and the orcs carry Frodo away to the Fortress of Doom where he lays shirtless, showing off his love handles until Sam sneaks in to rescue him, where the level resumes and we fight our way through the tower. The level concludes with us in a courtyard where we gather up pieces of orc armor to disguise ourselves as orcs despite being 4-foot-tall hobbits. Along the way, I found the blacksmith design for the Mithril ice bow. We successfully got past the gate guards, level 2 done. There was nothing standing between us and Mount Doom. Fuck! While riding to the next level as Gimli, I noticed a breakable block in the distance, and after breaking it, I was rewarded with a Mithril brick, one of the many hidden in the open world that I'll need to find, but I was saving my collecting until after the story. Level 3 sees our non-short heroes voyage into the Cave of Doom, which had green mist slightly above the floor and seemed rather creepy. In this cave, I built a mini-kit treasure chest from a box of scraps before we started getting attacked by green ghost people. This level was pretty long, there were lots of puzzles, but eventually the trio made it to the court of the Crimson King. Aragorn demanded the Ghost Army's service, and after a very brief boss fight, it was granted. Halfway through return. This level also put me over 1 million studs for the first time, which is big because the studs times 2 red brick usually cost 1 million. Unfortunately for me, I still had no clue where the quest for that red brick even was. A bunch of orcs march on Gondor, Gandalf doesn't look very confident, and level 4 begins with me riding on a horse as Eowyn and Merry as I destroyed as many things as I could to get more studs. That is until we fell off the horse and came face to face with the Dragon of Doom. In this boss fight, the dragon bangs his head on the ground for no reason, and after concussing himself, you're able to slash his head. After killing the dragon, the Witch King was slightly unhappy and began chasing me around with a mace, but just like the big troll guy from earlier, you can trick him into getting his weapon stuck in the ground, opening him up for attack. No man can defeat me. I'm a girl. Rip Bozo. Captain Jack Sparrowgorn showed up to Gondor with a ship of ghost people. I murdered a couple giant elephants. Gondor was saved. King Theoden left to visit the Great Ringmaker in the sky. 6 hours in and 2 levels left. Before riding to the next level, I noticed these blocks Gandalf could use the Force on, and after climbing up them, Legolas was able to beam walk his way over to another Mithril brick. I did a bit more exploring before starting level 5, picking up a couple more Mithril bricks and unlocking quests, all of which were only treasure item quests instead of Mithril object quests, so I wouldn't get red bricks out of them. My hope was I would get lucky and stumble onto a quest that would get me a stud multiplier red brick. Eventually, I found my way to the Black Gate to begin level 5. Aragorn gives a speech to the troops and passes a persuasion check. Everyone is hyped, and the Battle of Middle-earth begins with me needing to take out the Troll of Doom. And it's actually kind of an anticlimactic level because 90% of it is spent in the same area just fighting trolls and another dragon before it occasionally opens up and lets you run to this left area for a bit. We caused enough mayhem to draw Sauron's attention over to us. I have 1 level left. And with Sauron's eye on the Black Gate, now Sam and Frodo could climb up the mountain to begin said last level. Sam and Frodo are positively exhausted as they walk up the mountain, and I desperately try to take a screen cap of one of them in this scene that I could use for my thumbnail, but none of them really work. It's last level time. Mount Doom looks similar to when Isildur and Hugo were here in the first level, but it seems like Sauron added a bunch of extra platforming and puzzles to make navigating it take a lot longer. Oh cool, a mini kit at the end of a diving board. I joked about the previous level feeling anticlimactic. This one definitely doesn't. This is a great closing level to the game. Frodo gives up and Sam carries him like an absolute king until the dastardly Deagle Destroyer shows back up, triggering a boss fight where you just have to throw rocks at him. Frodo rushes into the Mountain of Doom. Sam follows suit, but once inside, Frodo refuses to destroy the ring. I would never call Frodo stupid. Gollum attacks, and this triggers part 2 of the boss fight where you have to shake him off your back as Frodo before switching to Sam and smacking him with a skillet. Andy Serkis bites Frodo's entire hand off, steals the ring, emotes on Frodo. Frodo pushes him off the ledge. Gollum fucking dies, but so does the ring. Sam saves Frodo. The level ends with another on the rails part where I missed yet another mini kit that I'm unable to turn around for. Sam and Frodo escape to a rock where they think it's game over prior to getting saved by giant birds. Aragorn gets a crown and everyone lives happily forever after. I'm done with the story, but not with the game because that only puts me at 27.8%. Now the real fun begins. To start my collecting, I kind of had analysis paralysis where there was so much left for me to do. I didn't even know where to start and I had no game plan. Thankfully, you can fast travel between map stones, and if you hover over one on the map, it tells you your collecting progress in that region. So like in Bree, as you can see, I'd done 1 out of 5 quests, bought 0 out of 3 red bricks, bought 0 characters out of 1, was 0 for 8 on Mithril bricks, and 0 for 2 on blacksmith designs. So my first goal, I decided to fast travel to Bree and collect everything I could find. I didn't have map markers or anything, so I literally just ran around and saw what I could interact with and grabbed everything I came across. Despite wanting to knock Bree completely out, I came into a huge roadblock that got me really mad. So walking on this tightrope, you're supposed to automatically jump onto the next beam, and it just wasn't working, and there was nothing I could do about it. I fell back to the ground and had to climb all the way back up, and it still didn't work, and I fell off the roof again. So I raged and gave up on Bree for now. I traveled to Cirith Ungol and ran around collecting more mithril bricks, still without much of a plan. I also still needed a character who could pull orange handles and another character who could destroy silver objects, but I had no clue which characters I could buy that could do those things. I came across an orc who only cost 25,000, so I went ahead and bought him, and he couldn't do anything, but it was worth a shot. I fast traveled to Isengard, and it was at this moment that I turned on subtitles, so now you can actually see what quest givers were saying to me, and this made it easier for me too. Like, I could just read mithril music boots, fast build red brick, got it. I fast traveled to Edoras, where I found a lady that wanted a mithril top hat, and in return would let me buy the studs ×6 red brick. I went back to Bree and checked at the blacksmith. I didn't have the top hat blueprint, and I was determined to change that. All the blacksmith designs are marked on the map if you've activated the map stone, so next I just started going around every part of the map and gathered every blacksmith design that I could. I had no way to know prior to getting each one what it would be, but even if they weren't the top hat, I knew they would let me get red bricks and were therefore all worth it anyway. Along the way, I found an elf who wanted a mithril headdress, which I remembered I'd grabbed the blacksmith design for earlier, so I crafted it, gave it to him, and bought the mithril hearts red brick, which basically just gives you 4 extra hearts of health. I also finally bought the quest finder red brick in Bree, which I liked because it indicated where red brick quest givers were. I delivered this cat the mithril whistle sword for the action assist red brick, giving this guy a mithril cluster bow, let me buy the disguises red brick, which is pretty worthless. One of the blacksmith designs was stuck behind silver blocks that I couldn't blow up, not to mention there was still the problem of the orange handles. I tried buying Gothmog, but he was completely useless. While exploring Helm's Deep, I found Berserker, thinking he might be able to yank on the orange handles, and yes, he could. I had my strength character, but not only that, I noticed he was running around carrying a bomb. This let me finally destroy the silver blocks for my Edoras blacksmith design, the Mithril Bottomless Bucket. I was hoping for a top hat. For the next half hour, I continued running around the map, gathering blacksmith designs and unlocking red brick quests until finally I ventured into my first free play level. We're back to the prologue to hopefully find its mini kits, blacksmith design, and treasure items. I came really close, but found myself at the end of the level, 1 mini kit short. I didn't care too much though, I was more concerned with the blacksmith design above all else. I wanted to do the levels in order, but as far as I could tell, this game didn't have a way to sort them in order, so I went to the map and picked a random next level that was nearby, the Battle of Pelennor Fields. This time I not only found this level's blacksmith design, but also all 10 mini kits and 3 treasure items. The blacksmith design was... oh my god. I crafted the top hat immediately, gave it to this lady, and the studs ×6 red brick costs 4 million when I only have 1.25. It's so over. I continued going through the levels. Next up was Track Hobbits, and this level had the mithril fishing rod, which was exactly what I needed for studs ×4. And this one I could afford. We are so back. I kept jumping to different levels trying to collect everything, mostly just to stay productive while saving up for the ×6 red brick. I did spend 75,000 on the mithril brick finder, which would add waypoints to mithril brick locations around the map, making finding them a lot easier. While in Bree, I tried my hand at tightroping again, and after a lot more anger, I somehow got Legolas to jump on the beam like he's supposed to. Mithril brick collected. I loaded up Warg Attack, the level where you free the King of Rohan from the curse, and after doing all that and making it outside, I was platforming as Legolas to get a blacksmith design, and on my way back over, I fell. And when I respawned below the rope, creating an infinite death loop that I could not get out of. I tried switching to co-op and doing everything as the other player, which was a solid idea on paper, but there was a mini kit I couldn't get without throwing Gimli, so I needed both players. This led to me having to restart the level and do it all over again. On the bright side, I was able to get the studs ×2 red brick, and a bit later got my 4 mil for studs ×6. The stud multiplier stacked, so 2, 4, and 6 got me to 48 times total. The worst level in free play was Black Rider. As a reminder, you sneak around avoiding the Black Rider's gaze, have a duel with Saruman, sneak some more, then the level ends with a chase where you cannot turn around. If you run by the last mini kit like I did, you have no choice except to restart the entire level from the beginning and do it all again. This is made doubly worse when you get back to the chase and miss the mini kit a second time. Excuse me for one moment. Oh boy, 3rd time's a charm. I can't wait to see how I do this time around. Thank God. I was already 12 and a half hours in. I did not have time to dilly-dally like that. Overall, though, I was in a groove now, and I had a hang of how to attack completing the game, but the time started passing by fast. I brought this guy a Mithril Shield for studs times 8. That gives me a 384 times multiplier, meaning money really doesn't matter now, but more importantly, 13 and a half hours in, I was only at 60%, which is much slower than my usual paces. I was getting nervous at this point about the time limit. I spent the next 2.5 hours running through most of the rest of the levels, just collecting everything, and thankfully not having any more stupid bugs or issues. Over 16 hours now, I was at about 72%. I had a brief scare on Mines of Moria where I thought my game was bugged and I couldn't 100% it. Basically, I misremembered what I had grabbed and thought I'd gotten 3 treasure items when I only had 2, so when it showed I only had 2, I thought the game messed up and didn't count one. But really, it was just me being stupid, and my second pass I got the 3rd treasure item. At the 17-hour, 19-minute mark, I collected my final mini kit, and all the levels were now fully complete. I had every design, mini kit, and treasure. This still only had me at 76.8% though. I had everything important at this point. Now it was just a matter of running around, collecting bricks, and turning in quests. At about 18 hours and 20 minutes in, I discovered in Rivendell there was a secret room under a waterfall. Inside this room, I saw a banner with a yellow arrow pointed at it, and activating this banner let me play a bonus level. In this, you're in control of Sauron, and it's a classic Lego City type level where you go around a miniature Middle-earth and just have to destroy everything you can to get to 1,000,000 studs. It only took me like 20 minutes. It's not very tricky unlike some of the other ones. Nearing the 20-hour mark and still not done. I'm not nervous at all though. Open the fucking gate! Faster, horse, faster! This is now only my 3rd Lego video that has made it past the 20-hour mark. I'm not going to tell you what the other 2 were in case you haven't seen them, but suffice to say we're in rare territory. I climbed up boxes, destroyed a Morgul object, and grabbed a Mithril brick, but not just any Mithril brick, the last Mithril brick. At the blacksmith, I crafted my final design, which gave me the blacksmith as a character. I think that's everything. Or 99.8%. Alright, I didn't have the achievement for activating all the map stones, so I figured it was that. I checked Bree's map stone, and yeah, that was the one I missed. Okay, now 100%. Nope, still at 99.8. Alright, I guess I'll teleport to Hobbiton. After fast traveling, I got another random character, and that was what I needed for 100%. I don't know why it didn't give me that character in Bree, but I'll take it. So not quite 21 hours, but still, that was one of the longest Lego games for me. I like Lego Lord of the Rings. It wasn't one of my favorites, but still, I did it. Everyone who said Frog couldn't do it, ha. If you like this video, I have a lot more of these Lego under 24 hours videos you can watch. Check out the playlist. Shout out to my patrons as always. Consider becoming one yourself. Precious.